everybody, another week, another tutorial, another comment being acknowledged from 3 years ago because I've been ignoring all of the old comments. I don't know why. It wasn't on purpose. I just don't pay attention to things. So today's question, could you do a video for jetés in Petit Allegro and sissons? I'm glad you specified because Petit Allegro jetés are different than jetés. You know, most jetés, you throw the leg and it kind of pulls your body. You do transfer the weight, you do travel. But Petit Allegro jetés are kind of their own special thing. So I'm glad you specified, otherwise this could be a very, very long video. There are many different types of jetés, but the Petit Allegro jeté is pretty simple, and I think I can bang out this tutorial pretty quickly. I do want to save sissons maybe for a different video, maybe the next video next week, because jetés and sissons are not really similar. I mean, they're both jumps, but they're kind of different, and I don't want to overwhelm anybody or inundate anybody with too much information in one video. I think we'll do this one as just Petit Allegro jetés. Also, I don't want to be doing too much jumping and traveling in this studio today because I'd like to make a special announcement. We have a new addition to our family. Meet Mo. Mo is somewhere between 4 and 5 months. We rescued him from an Amish farm. The Amish, for some reason, they don't really see animals as companions. So my dad was going to this farm to pick up some eggs, and this little kitty started following him around, and he jokingly said, "How much for the kitten?" And the lady said, "Oh, take him, we don't want him. They don't want these cats hanging around their barn." So my dad came back and told me that he met a cute little kitten that needs a home, and who am I to turn away a cute little kitten that needs a home? So he's been quarantining in the corner in the studio until he is safely dewormed before he meets Benny. He's a little sore and grumpy because he got a whole bunch of vaccinations yesterday, and you know, they stab them like on the hip and around the shoulders, like each quadrant of the body gets a different vaccine, so he is a little cranky today. I'm hoping he just kind of stays in his corner on his blanket and I can do a very small Petit Allegro jeté tutorial and just kind of zoom in on the feet and not disrupt his little resting space in the corner. So a jeté starts kind of similarly to the way an assemblée starts. So if you've seen my assemblée tutorial, you'll see some things that look very familiar. The way the leg slides out almost into a tendu à la seconde to initiate the movement, and then you push off the leg to get your jump, and then the legs come together. In an assemblée, they come together to land in 5th position. In a jeté, one foot kind of replaces the other, and then the foot that is now the back foot finishes in a sur le coup de pied back position. So here we go. So my right ankle is the bad ankle, and I usually wear a sock or a leg warmer. Not that that matters to you, but if I'm ever talking about right leg, left leg, and you're kind of confused by watching on the camera, if I'm referring to my right leg, it's the one with the sock on it. So if you need help distinguishing right from left when I'm talking about what my legs are doing, the socky foot is the right foot. I'm going to take these instructions straight out of the Vaganova book. Stand in 5th position with your right foot in front. Remember, my socky foot is the right foot. So right foot in front. We are going to do a demi-plie, and the left leg is going to be drawn to the side in a gliding movement. The knees and toes are straightened, and the toes touch the floor in 2nd position. Right? So what I say, we're kind of in a tendu à la seconde right now, except we started from a plie. Plie, and the left leg started going to the side. Knees and toes straight. Then you're going to push off the floor with the right foot in a jump, straightening the knees and toes. So you push off from the right foot, and these knees and toes have to straighten too. So let's pretend we're in the air. I'm en releve, but we're going to pretend I'm in the air. Return the left leg to the place formerly held by the right leg, and you lower yourself on it into a demi-plie, and you bring the right foot sur le coup de pied back. And if we need a refresher, sur le coup de pied back is when your heel touches the space kind of between your ankle bone and your calf. So not up here, it's not a passe. Your heel kind of touches the lower part of your calf, and you are pointing your foot in a turned out, slightly winged position. So you're not sickling like this. You're not scratching an itch on your ankle. Toes away from the leg. So when you speed it all up with the coordination, it looks like this. And now let's do it with the other leg. So plie, send it out, jump, replace. It's technically not too difficult to reverse a Petit Allegro jeté, but it does feel a little funny if you're not used to it. So if we want to reverse a Petit Allegro jeté, we would start in plie, and now instead of the back foot initiating, the front foot will initiate, but it's the same pattern. You jump and replace it. So instead of bringing it back to front, we are now bringing it front to back. And then the other foot, instead of landing sur le coup de pied back, now lands sur le coup de pied front. And sur le coup de pied front is when your pinky toes touches kind of just above your ankle bone. And again, your heel is trying to keep the turn out. You're not turning in or scratching your itch with your foot. In this case, your heel is away from the leg. Meanwhile, from the back, the toes are away from the leg. So the position of the foot kind of stays the same. It's just which part of the foot is touching the leg. One thing to be mindful of is to not overcross your coup de pied. Sometimes we get a little caught up in the movement, and then we wind up kind of kicking the floor or kicking the dirt behind us. You don't want to overcross this position. It's right behind the ankle. There's no reason for your foot to cross that far, right under you. So in Petit Allegro combinations, it is most common to see a jeté come after a glissade. And I do have a video about glissades. So most commonly, you'll see glissade, jeté, and then probably follows up with another one, glissade, jeté. It is also very common to see many jetés in a row, to do one after the other in succession, in which case we do not go through the plie and slide on the floor again. Maybe back in the day they did that, but now as the standards of ballet have gotten quicker and a little flashier, we tend to kind of go right from the sur le coup de pied to initiate the next jeté. There is not time to put the foot down again and slide on the floor again. In the Vaganova method, we tend not to drop the level of the leg before doing another jump. That is one of the reasons why in our frappe combinations, we tend to just extend it from where it is. We don't strike the floor like a lot of other methods do. Vaganova thinks that that is kind of inefficient. You know, it just doesn't make sense to drop the level of the leg if you're just going to send it out again. So similarly, how we just send our frappe right out from where it is, we do the same thing in our jeté. So the first one, yes, if you are starting from fifth position, you have to go, brush the floor. Brush the floor and get to your jeté. But then the second one, no time, just from where it is, out next to jeté. As you get more advanced, your teacher may tell you to add a beat or battu, which is when you beat the legs. Pretend I'm in the air right now. You beat the legs before landing in your sur le coup de pied position. So for example, let's say we're starting with the right leg. You know you have to finish here, right? But you can't beat front twice, that's a little bit awkward. So this leg that starts is going to beat back, then front to land. And it looks like this. And there are many ways to think of beating. I did also make a video about how to improve your beats. But one of the silliest catchphrases I hear is to beat the meat, not the feet. So even though, yes, the feet are crossing, you don't want to think about just beating the feet. You want to make the whole leg beat. And if we're real quiet, you'll actually hear my thighs like slap together. That clap sound was not my ankles, it was my thighs. Big girls. If you are doing your jeté backwards, you know you have to end like this, but you can't beat back twice, that's a little bit awkward. So when you are reversing it, you beat front, then back. This one definitely feels more awkward, but it looks like this. Now, demonstrating these slowly might look pretty manageable, but once the music starts speeding up, it's easy to get overwhelmed. Musically, this is like an and one. There's really not time to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So one of the ways you can get a hang of doing this quick coordination is just practicing walking. I teach little kids to do assemblées like this too. I tell them to just go N1, N2, N3, N4. Same thing with jetés. You just gotta pick up the back foot. N1, N2, N3, N4. It's actually easier with a jump. And don't worry if they're a little sloppy in the beginning. Just get used to transferring your weight. N1, N2, N3, N4. And another thing to keep in mind is that while bigger jetés do travel, you literally throw the leg. That's what jeté means, it means to throw. Bigger jetés, you absolutely do travel. But in Petit Allegro, the jeté is more of an up and down. You travel forward very slightly, but you never want to do a glissade jeté all the way out here. No, the glissade travels, the jeté is in place. Jetés are more up and down. Another thing you will see, specifically with the men, is that they will try to throw out both legs. They try to achieve a split, even in their Petit Allegro jetés, which was not required in the beginning. Vaganova did not seem to care what this leg did. In her original diagrams, this leg is straight up and down. But again, as ballet changes over the years, and as the standards get more advanced and more flashy and more showy, you will see the men try to do a whole split before they land in their sur le coup de pied. And even more impressively, they'll send the legs out quite far and do a big, exaggerated beat. But me personally, I've never been much of a jumper. I'm really bad at Petit Allegro. And I don't do a whole lot of jumping these days anyway because I have degenerative disc disease in my back. So landing a jump is quite painful for me because that disc, I don't have a whole lot of shock absorption between those vertebrae. No bells and whistles from me. So one more time real quick. If you are starting a jeté from 5th position, you do your plie, you slide the leg, you push off and you replace it. If you are starting from a previous jeté or some other movement that put you in sur le coup de pied back, you don't need to go down and brush again. You kind of just send it out right from that coup de pied position and you do another. Same thing if you're going backwards. If you're going backwards, go through the plie, replace it. If you're already in sur le coup de pied, just send it out that way, push off. The timing is and one, and one, and one. That will come with practice. What will also come with practice is adding the battu. Just because you are adding a battu does not mean you get to take more time. It is still on the and one. And one, and one, and one, and one. And then one final tip that I want to leave you with, not just for jetés one after the other, but for pretty much any jump, that you're doing one jump right after the other, right after the other. I do say, and a lot of other teachers do say, make sure you put your heels down because this ensures that you are using your plie and you can push off of the whole foot and get a little more power in your jump. But I also want you to think of your jumps in a different way. Dancers of all levels tend to get caught up in, oh, jumping, it's up, it's up, it's up, and we kind of throw away these perfectly good pliés. So, for example, when you're doing your jetés over and over again, you start your jeté, you're in the air, and you land in plié. And people tend to think of that landing in plié, that is the end of the jump. That jump is over. And now to start the next jump, you have to get up again. But I almost want you to do that in reverse. I almost want you to think of, you did your plie, you pushed off the foot, you did your jeté, now the jump is over and you plie, and the plie is actually the beginning of your next jump. I don't know if this makes sense, so I'll try to show you real quick. So let's say you're doing a bunch of jetés, one after the other. We tend to think of it as, okay, I finished. That's the end of jeté 1. Now I have to get into jeté 2. And it's like I'm stuck here at this beginning and have to push off again. And that gets really tiring and exhausting. And you can sometimes lose your springboard action. So I almost want you to, just for a moment, imagine that your jump ends up here in the air, like, okay, jeté is done once you're in the air. And your landing is really the beginning of your next jeté. I know I'm doing it like really big and exaggerated, but instead of it being jeté 1, jeté 2, it should be jeté 1 and jeté 2 and jeté 3. You'll get much more use out of your plie. Don't think of this as the ending. Think of it as this is the beginning of the next one and the next one. That will also help you with the musicality and the speed, because this all has to be done on N1, N2, N3. So that plie is really the beginning of the next jump, not the end of the previous jump. And this applies to almost any jump combination. Don't think of your plie and your landing as the end of the jump. Think of, once you're in the air, the jump is over, and this plie is going to be the beginning of the next jump. I feel like that will just give you more power, more stamina, and I think we tend to forget that because we're so caught up in going up, going up, going up for the next jump that we forget that we have this plie. So just a little something to keep in mind when you start learning your Petit Allegro combinations or medium jumps, big jumps, Grand Allegro, anything. And what do we think? Was Mo a good student? So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Stay tuned because I will announce the time of our Salty Sunday on January 30th. Sunday, January 30th will be our Salty Sunday. I have not yet announced the time, but we will probably be doing it earlier in the morning or early afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. I will post that somewhere, probably the community post. I'll post a little thing, or maybe I will schedule the live stream so it will be up there waiting a few days in advance, and you'll see it and you'll be able to adjust your schedule accordingly if you want to join in and chat. I will be answering the questions that people left in the comments on the posts and everything, so hopefully it'll be a good one, and I will see you next time. Stay salty.